Okay, well, good morning, everyone. It's MLM Unbiased, Renee Liao here on a gorgeous Thursday morning here, and I wanted to continue the series because a lot of you have been asking me about, what makes a good compensation plan. And so we already discussed a few things in the previous videos. We talked about, bonuses versus commissions. We talked about, how many legs we have to build, and of course, on how deep do you get paid. And so I guess the next part of a component that's just as important, if not more important than the other topics, are basically what I've learned from my current mentor in direct sales over 9 years ago now, is what's called the Earning Per Distributor Ratio. Okay, the Earning Per Distributor Ratio. And this part itself, most people don't actually realize what this is or haven't even calculated how it works, but it's so important because when you're building your MLM business, you want to be able to figure out or to tell someone else who's getting started in your business, well, how many people do you need in your team, for example, to make 500 a month or 1,000 a month or 2,000 a month or even 30,000 a month, right? So, and a lot of people don't even really understand how to calculate, well, what's the amount of people I need in my team in the first place to be able to make a stable residual income of 500 per month. So that's what I've learned as a teaching. Again, special thanks to GWT CEO Rami Mazgarli for teaching me this thing called the Earning Per Distributor Ratio many years ago that has become so valuable in me making the right decision in my own business. So again, just some stats wise, industry wise, reported online, the average earning per distributor ratio, which is again, how much money can you make on a monthly basis based upon how many people in your team. So it's a monthly calculation of how much you can earn based upon the size of your team. And basically, when it comes to generic sort of skincare or health and wellness type of products, consumable products, typically it's 1-to-1. So in other words, to make $100 a month of residual income, again, I'm not talking about bonuses because in the previous first video, we mentioned that again, bonuses come once, commissions come for life. So what you want to find is, and to focus on, is a plan that focuses on residual commissions, right? So what we're talking about here again is how much can you make on a monthly basis from what size of a team on an ongoing residual income basis. So again, the average is 1-to-1. So 100 people in your team can pay you 100 a month of residual income. And funny enough, I was actually at Eric Ward's event a few years back ago, actually last year it was, and it's a room full of 6-figure, 7-figure earners in the room, and I got a chance to meet a few of the other millionaires in direct sales in North America. Of course, got to become their friends and shake their hands, and I even asked some of these people, to make $1 million per year, okay, you gotta be making close to 90,000 a month or 100,000 a month to then in 1 year make $1 million. And I got a chance just to sort of ask some questions. I asked these people, who are making $1 million a year, how many people do you have in your teams, and of course they're very proud to share with me, I have, 100,000 people, I have 150,000 people. One person I met actually had 500,000 people in his team. And so again, it's just to prove my point that to make 6 figures a month or $100,000 a month of income, you got to have at least 100,000 people. So it's 1-to-1, right? But again, just a side note, what that tells me is that majority of the people out there don't really have a chance to kind of making that kind of income. And so what I did was, when I looked at, in picking a company to work with, what I looked at was, well, how much do I make per person in my team? And I actually learned how to calculate that. So if you don't really know how to calculate, well, how much does each person really pay me in residual income on a monthly basis, send me a private message, whatever it is, and I can sort of give you some guidance there. But essentially, it's not that hard to figure out. You look at, again, how much does each person pay for their monthly products, okay? And you calculate how many of those people do you need to make, let's say $500 per month, right? So if you had to have 500 people paying their monthly payments to make $500 a month, then it's 1-to-1. If you had 250 people in your team required to buy product on a monthly basis to then generate 500 a month, it's 1-to-2, right? So so it's 2-to-1, right? So every 2 people, pays you $1. So and that's such an important factor. When you look at companies such as, service-based MLM companies, whether it's doing like, travel, or it could be, even like telecom or gas and, service-based type of companies, because the margins of profit are a lot less, each person pays you up to a maximum of about 25 cents. So in those companies, you need a whole lot more people in order to make some decent income. And, my whole theory was, well, if it takes more people for me to make a stable residual income, then it takes more people for my team to make stable residual income. Then it just takes longer to be able to build up this retirement business, right? So, on average speaking, 1-to-1 is a decent stat. It's the average stat. It's not even decent. You want to find a plan that at least each person in your team can pay you at least, I would say, $4 to $5 a person. I've seen plans that pay, each person can pay you minimum $8 a person. And so again, this is something that's really important for a lot of people to understand is it's not how big is your team. Again, it's more about how many of them are required and how much does it make you on a monthly basis. Because again, for the new person, if they want to make $1,000 a month, but they need 1,000 people, that's just a very tough business, right? But if they only need to have, for example, let's say, I don't know, call it maybe, 100 people to make 1,000 a month, then that's a better stat. If it only requires you 80 people to make 1,000 a month, or 70 people to make 1,000 a month, even better, right? So, and because at the end of the day, we're in a business here, and business is all about numbers. So again, really get a chance to look at, how many people does it take you to make, let's say, 500 a month. Do that math, and because and when you do the math and you realize how many people it takes to make that much money, then the next step is to look at your current organization if you're already in the business, and look at, well, okay, if I have 100 people in my team right now, the most important second stat is, okay, how many of them are still active? So it's not just one thing to look at, well, how big is my team? It's even more important to look at, well, how many of those people are still left on a monthly basis, actively buying products? Because I met some people that have teams of, over 1.2 million people, but the retention is like 6%. So, not even 60,000 people are left. I met some people that have 100,000 people, but they only have about 5,000 left. So again, it's not about, yes, it's about how much does each person pay you, but it's also about how many of them stay. So one of the other things I want to talk about in my next video is retention, because retention is above all things another really important factor and criteria in looking at what makes a good compensation plan. And so all in all, I want to thank you for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video, just to really understand how to do the math. It is important, right? So you have to figure out how much does each person pay you, because at the end of the day, you're in a business. In a business, you look at numbers. So again, stay tuned for my next video. That's Rene Liao, MLM Unbiased. Take care.